Alright, what's up, motherfuckers and scumbags and all my great peeps, you sexy bitches. It is I, your tribal god of extreme. Put up your ones and acknowledge me and acknowledge the prophecy, the greatest thing since sliced bread. But thank you all for watching right here on the main channel, Killer of Demons 669. And as always, thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video, hit that subscribe button down there in hell, otherwise known as my pants, otherwise known as the description box below on this channel, and my other channels as well. Show your love and support. Leave a comment on the video if you like, and on my past videos if you like, but don't leave stupid comments because you'll get blocked. Sent to the shadow realm where Satan will eat your soul. So please do not do that. Be respectful of my channels or get the fuck out. And don't come back. And that's all I gotta say about that. And that rhymed. Thank you very much. With that. Alright, so like the video, subscribe to my channels, leave a comment if you wish. And also, follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Share the video all over the internet. And don't forget to tap and slap that goddamn bell. Turn on all notifications so you don't miss anything. Because if you do, well, you're pretty much SOL, and you know what that means. If you don't know what it means, you need to get slapped in the face. Or just look it up. Simple as that. Simple as that. So, once again, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. That's it. And for our first-time viewers, if you're coming to my channel for the very first time, well, welcome to the party, pal! We hope you enjoy the ride. Sit back, relax, and if you sit back, relax, grab yourself a Pepsi, or grab yourself your own cold one, whatever you're going to be drinking tonight, or today, tonight, whenever. Put your feet up, sit back, and relax, and enjoy the show. And like I said before, if you like it, great, get out of here. Go on somebody else's channel and watch. And that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Alright, on this beautiful, warm Saturday afternoon, May the 10th, 2025. It is Mother's Day weekend, and hopefully some of you, I hope you got, some flowers or a card or something for your mama, because, Mother's Day is tomorrow. It's her day to take her out and, treat her right and all that good stuff. But today's, doing it the last day, not so good, Al. But it is what it is. It's Mother's Day Eve. We got Backlash coming up in a little under 2 hours, so we're getting there. So should be a pretty decent show from St. Louis, Missouri. That's the hometown of the man who's going up against John Cena and his undisputed title. That man is the hometown boy, Randy Orton, and his monotonous voice. Alright, so we got that. So it should be a pretty good mini show because there's only 5 goddamn matches. It feels like an NXT pay-per-view. So this pay-per-view will be over about, I'd say about 9:30ish. Maybe 10, depending on how, what else might, if there's anything added, or the matches go a little bit longer than what they should be. And we got that. Don't forget, we got the scrum after that. The post pay-per-view conference, post-show, whatever you want to call it. So, we'll see what happens with that, and then, pretty much after Backlash, we're about 3 weeks away from our next pay-per-view. That's Money in the Bank. And that's going to be, I believe, in Los Angeles, California, at a little theater. No, it's going to be in L.A., that's going to be a big day because there's a double pay-per-view. Earlier in the day at 3 p.m. we got NXT with another pay-per-view. We got Battleground coming up in 2 weeks from tomorrow in Tampa, Florida. And then pretty much 6 days after that, we got NXT Worlds Collide going up against the newly acquired Triple A promotion, so should be some good stuff. And then at 7 o'clock, right after that pay-per-view, we're going right into Money in the Bank, which should be pretty damn good. So probably this Monday night on Raw, we'll be getting the men's and women's Money in the Bank qualifying matches to see who goes to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and gets that fucking briefcase. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, we'll pretty much see what happens with that. Now, remember last year, on the women's side, Tiffy Stratton cashed in and won the belt, I believe, from Nia Jax. We all remember that. And then on the men's side, it was Poppy Priest? It was Poppy Priest, I believe, right? So we got that. So a Raw guy and two. I think both member. Actually, I think Tiffy on SmackDown. So yeah, Tiffy was on SmackDown. So I assume a Raw Women's Superstar will win the Money in the Bank Women's briefcase. Who? Don't know. Maybe it'd be Jade Cargill. I don't know, but we'll see what happens with that. On the men's side, I assume it'll be a SmackDown Superstar. People thinking Cody. No, not gonna be Cody. If anybody, what really should be is Killer Cross, or maybe Eli Drake. But I mean, we'll see what happens with that. And people think Dom, but maybe if he's in it. But we'll see what happens this Monday night on Raw as we start the road to Money in the Bank with those qualifying matches. And we got that. So, but before we get to Money in the Bank, before we even get to Backlash, it is time for your late and out of date. By the way, before we even start, hope everybody's having a great weekend, a great Saturday, nice and warm here in the Northeast, 72 degrees. Tomorrow's going to be near 80. Going to be a great day for all those mothers out there. So enjoy your day. Have fun. Be safe. Be well. Because we love you. That's pretty much it for that. And yeah, it's gonna be a nice warm 80-degree day. And then next week here in the Northeast is gonna be raining again. Almost all week. Sucks. Not that I got any plans, but usually on the weekends I do got plans. I had plans tonight, but they got sadly changed, and so my plans got changed to next week. So really not doing anything tonight except watching Backlash with the missus, and just chilling. Gonna watch Backlash, and I'm gonna watch. We're gonna have some Netflix and chill, if you know what I mean. That's pretty much what I gotta say about that. But it is what it is. That's that. Alright, so hope everybody else is having a great Saturday. And if not, well, fuck you, man. That's it. Alright, now it is time for your late, really late, kinda out of date, Monday Night Raw and Smackdown Review. So a 2-for-1 special for that ace right here on the main channel. That's that. Alright, so let's get to Monday Night Raw really quickly. So, get this done really quickly so I can get into my Backlash predictions and then go right into Backlash starting at 7 o'clock. So, we got about an hour and a half away. So, not that far away. Alright, but I want to get these up really quickly so we can go to Backlash and then we'll talk about Backlash. That too, later tonight on the Peter Joseph channel, and then Sunday we'll talk about TNA and Ring of Honor, and then that'll be it for your weekend. And then we start a new week, the second official week of May, and we're getting closer and closer to Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial start of summer. We are actually 2 weeks away from the weekend of Memorial Day weekend, so we're about 2 weeks away. So the summer is, the unofficial start of summer is close at hand, my friends. But we're still about a month and 10 days away from the official start of summer. That's June the 20th. So break out those swim trunks, guys, and you ladies out there. Oh boy, break out those thong bikinis and itsy bitsy polka dot bikinis, if you know what I mean. Making those titties pop out of those damn things. It's summer weather, you gotta love it. That's my favorite time of year, when those titties come popping out at the beach. And that's pretty much it. Alright, so let's get to Raw really quickly. And Raw emanated from the CHI Health Center, or the Chi, tomato, Chi Health Center in Omaha, Nebraska. Not Boomer Sooner country, but anyway, we're in Nebraska for Raw, and our commentary team of the legend Michael Cole and his good buddy, his confidant, Pat McAfee, probably for the last time, because as we all know, Pat McAfee is going up against Walter tonight at Backlash, and yeah, I hope you're all wearing black tonight, because this might be the funeral of Pat McAfee. So, because I think Walter is going to murder him. There is an outside chance Goldberg shows up, but right. There is an outside chance Jeff Cobb might show up tonight. I mean, he's pretty much, he can come over to WWE. He's already on target to go to the main roster, so not even going to NXT. So he might show up tonight, he might show up on Monday, he might show up, I don't know when. But get ready, Jeff Cobb, Matanza Cueto, making his appearance in WWE on Raw or SmackDown. Well, like I said, tonight, and then on Raw or SmackDown, wherever he's at. I think they actually they placed him on SmackDown, I think, but. So, who knows what's going to happen tonight. But there is supposedly a major title being changed tonight. So, the only title that is on the line besides the world title is Dom Dom's title, as he defends the Intercontinental title against Pentagon Zero Miedo. So, I don't know if Dom loses his belt tonight. I don't think he will, but you never know. You never know. That's really the only title that's on the line. There's no women. There's one. The other title that might be changing, which I think will change, is the Women's Intercontinental title that the lassie bitch from Ireland, Lyra Valkyria, she takes on the Man, Becky Lynch. So I think Becky, the Man, will win the belt, become the second Women's Intercontinental Champion, and she is a Grand Slam champ. So we got that. Also, the U.S. title is on the line. Jacob Fatu, Yao Ming, that guy. He's defending against Poppy Priest, Drew McIntyre, and E5 Drake. That's not an insult. That's a fact of life. So one of those minor titles might change tonight. I think it's going to be the Women's Intercontinental title. But then again, we don't know. But should be a great show, but we'll get there in a minute. Alright, so we have Michael Cole and Pat McAfee on commentary, the Raw Go Home show before Backlash. And it was like this. It was alright, nothing great. Alright, so we start off with a big, huge recap from last week where we saw Braun Breaker destroy and pretty much take out Sami Zayn last week. On Seth Rollins' orders, he's like, well, if you don't want to be with us, well, fuck him. So, Braun Breaker took him out with, I think 2 or 3 spears. We got that. So we got that. Alright, so after that, we start out with the World Heavyweight Champion of Raw, the Yeet Man, Jey Uso, is in your city! Alright, it's time to yeet Yeah, I'm 48. I'm saying yeet. Hey, gotta get with the times, man. Come on. Not like back in my day, we didn't even say yeet. Yeet was like, what the fuck? You mean yeast? No, not yeast. Yeet. You know, that wouldn't work in the 80s. In the 80s, we were like, totally, dude, it's you, dude. You know, we're talking like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Cowabunga, dude! No, that's shit. Now it's 2025, we got words like yeet. Ridiculously weird words like yeet, fiend. Well, fiend was way back in the day, but it's spelled differently, obviously. You know, lots of just weird stuff. Weird slang, ebonics shit. But anyway, Jay gets in the ring, comes to with the kiddies, because he loves, you know, he loves those kids. That works. So it gets to the point, calls out Logan Paul, after basically getting knocked the fuck out last week. But instead of Logan Paul, we do have another Paul, and it's the Wise Man, the fake as fuck Wise Man. My name is Paul Heyman. So he comes out saying, I don't mean any disrespect. Yeah, right. Oos. But then Jay talks about how the Wise Man has a lot of nerve coming out here after what you did to my family, meaning my tribal chief Roman Reigns, my brother Jimmy, Solo, you know, blah, blah, blah. So Paul finds it interesting to hear that coming from Jay after what he did to Roman. What did Jay do to Roman? Well, yeah, him and Jimmy turned on him, like, you know, about a year or so ago, but, you know. And he was like, where was everyone to warn me about what was going to happen to him? Well, yeah, Solo beating his ass and all that other shit. So then Paul blames his so-called best friend in the world, CM Puke, for the betrayal at Mania. And then he complains, we get the CM Puke chants from the crowd. Then he talks about Punky Brewster putting him in a no-win situation. And that brings him to Roman, our tribal chief, who was still playing high school football when me and Punky Brewster got together. And he's like, what did Roman think he was going to do? Sell his secrets to Punk? Well, basically you did. So basically Paul's like, I turned Roman into the tribal chief, and the two of us were the undisputed WWE champion for over 1,000 days, officially 13, 16, or 17. But anyway, but it was Roman who lost the belt, not Paul. And then Roman left Paul to go on a little vacation, and then you know, he left him with Soto, me bookie, Jacob Fatu, and the Gorillas of Destiny, Tangaloa, and Tama Tonga. Yeah. And his hand injury is more severe than we thought. So don't know when Tama Tonga's coming back. Tama Tonga, yeah. Tama Tonga and Tama Loa is coming. Tonga Loa is coming back. Well, Tonga Loa is coming back from his injury. That's what I meant. But anyway, blah blah blah. So Roman finally came back, but it wasn't to avenge the Wise Man, but rather to get his Ula Fala back, which he got at the January 6th Netflix show. And everyone wants to blame Heyman. He's like, I'm in the right! Why is everybody blaming me? He's screaming and hollering. He's like, this time I'm in the right. And he's like, you blame me? Screw you! I'm like, damn, Paul, calm down. I'm about to get a heart attack. I mean, like, seriously. Calm down, Paul. Take some Ritalin. You know, eat your Snickers. Shit. And then Jay's like, Paul? Wise Man, are you okay? Good acting by Paul, though, but I guess anyway, so Jay's like, what the fuck does this have to do with me? And then Paul goes into a speech about how Jay doesn't understand what it means to be a champion. Really, Paul? They were the longest reigning tag team champions in history. anyway, so Jay doesn't know what power that the world title brings, and Seth Rollins needs that belt. So he says stage 1 is what's happened so far. Stage 2 is taking that belt, and Jay's like sad. He's like, So Jay gets to pick the date he loses the belt because Seth is officially challenging him for the belt. So then Heyman goes to leave, and then Jay's like, wait a minute there, Wise Man. If it's any place, any time, let's do it right now. And then Heyman's like, there's those googly eyes, like, Scooby-Doo. So that's that. So, later on, Nick Aldis, who was taking over for Adam Pearce, who was on vacation, makes it official. So, in the main event, we got Jey Uso defending the world title against Seth freaking Rollins. That should be a banger of a match. And we got that. Alright. So we move on with that. So I gave the segment 3.25 out of 5 stars, and we're off and running on Monday Night Raw. Then we get a look back at JD McDumbfuck's return last week with Michael Cole makes a mistake saying the War Raiders retain the tag belts. Really, Cole? Cole, where have you been lately? I mean, you've been like, You've been having a little bit of vino? Not this vino, but vino? I mean, you're fucking up. I mean, come on now, Michael! Alright, so we got that. Alright, so we see JD McDumbfuck return, and he's going to be taking on Pentagon Zero Miedo. I can't do the... Alright, I would do the walk, but... I'm sitting down right now. Maybe another time. So we got that, and a whole lot more. We move on. Alright, so then we go to the back. We see the Wise Man, my name is Paul Heyman, in the locker room. Goes over to see Seth freaking Rollins, and Braun Breaker. And it says, I can't believe Jey Uso fell for that shit. So Heyman had a plan, and it worked. Seth Rollins says, I told you it would happen. And then, I told you it happened. Then he leaves. And then, so he explains to Braun Breaker that Seth's recent efforts, explains Seth's recent efforts and how Jey Uso isn't ready for him. And, says, when Rollins wins the belt, they get the keys to the kingdom. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Alright, 2.5 out of 5 stars for that. Alright, then we get to our first official match. Pentagon taking on JD McDumbfuck in his return match from injury. That horrible collapsed long neck injury. I don't know. Ugh, it was nasty. But anyway, it was a pretty match. We had Judgment Day at ringside. We had Gordito and I believe Finn Balor. I don't know about Dom. But anyway, they get involved as you would think they would. They're probably going to get involved tonight when Dom defends the belt against Pentagon. So, Pentagon hits a tilt-a-rope backbreaker for an air fall, then dives onto Gordito, who tried to interfere. And then Finn Balor gets in a shot, but gets caught by the referee. And then, him and Gordito, well, you guys, out! They get kicked out. And then, Chad Gable comes out. Oh, thank you. He comes out from somewhere. Crotches Pentagon on top. But then, he gets a big flippy dibbity-doo. And then JD McDumbfuck hits a jawbreaker. Goes for the moonsault. Missed it. No water in the pool for you, sir. And then Pentagon grabs a Mexican Destroyer and hits that. And he gets the win. 1, 2, 3 in under 11 minutes. So Pentagon gets the win, even though he had to run through hoops to get there. But he gets the win. And we'll see what happens tonight against Dominic Galero, let's see. That's Eddie's son. That's right, that's my son! The fruit of my loins! He's the champ! Ese pero. I know, okay, Eddie, calm down. I know that's your son. I hope he wins tonight. I know, I like Pentagon, this guy, Well, he's not this guy, but he's, he's a luchador like this guy. How you doing, ese? Mamacitas and muchachos, this is I, El Donito Ese. Yay, 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 yay! Osito. Ah! He fears that guy. He fears Osito, my good buddy from the land of my land. He lives right here in New York. Great guy, by the way. Former champion, by the way. Not world champ, but he was a champion. Mid-card champ. But we move on. I miss that guy, though. Miss the guy immensely. I think he's injured with his shoulder. I don't know what's going on with the guy. I don't have his number on speed dial. I wish I did, but... Alright, so anyway. Alright, so Pentagon gets the win. We'll see what happens tonight with him. Going up against Dominic Guerrero ese for the Intercontinental title. It should be a banger. And we'll see what happens with all that. And we move on. Alright, then we go to Kathy Kelly, somewhere in the front row. No, in the stands, in the top of the arena somewhere. She had no, he's not on the top. Sorry, take that back. Alright, so in the back, we have, I did it, Grayson Waller. He's pleading his case, not Adam Pearce was back from vacation, I should say. So Grayson Waller pleads his case to Adam Pearce. He's like, I don't want to face, whoever, So he offers his match to Austin Theory, who's taking on, who did he take on? I gotta look for my notes. Oh, he's taking on a mystery partner. Not mystery partner. Mystery opponent. And it was supposed to be Grayson Waller against the mystery opponent. And then, at the last minute, he got all chicken. He got all, became a pussy, basically. And he gives the match to Austin Theory. And Theory's like, well, I'll do it. Okay, no problem. He's like, well, who am I facing? And then Grayson's like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. It's a mystery. So it's a mystery, Big ups to the great man up there, you great man, Ronnie James Dio. The man who made this, not you, Gene Simmons. The Maloik. You can give the Maloik, and he can protect you. It's the evil eye in Italian. It's called the Maloik. Or the evil eye. Which you can give the evil eye, or you can protect, it can protect you, so. It's a little Italian war, so. But, well, we got that. But, Ronnie James Dio, the master, the man. If it wasn't for this, there'd be no medal. Well, we got that. Let me move on. We're off to the witch! You may never ever return! No, not good. You're last in line! There's a rainbow in the dark! Okay. I'm a pretty good singer. You love it. You want more of it. Oh, the girls are getting wet in their panties thinking about that. I serenade Rose almost every night. Sometimes she tries to serenade me, and I'm like, turn it down! No, I'm kidding. Rose is a pretty decent singer. Not great, but... Alright, so, who's Austin Theory's mystery opponent? Well, the lights go out. Sabu! No, not Sabu. Not Sabu. But it is the returning Sheamus Fella! So Sheamus comes back. I wish he would change his theme song back to It's a Shame for Fame. This old theme, not the theme we have now. It's garbage. But it's Fight Night Baby! As Pat McAfee would say, it's Fight Night. Alright, so he comes out and Theory's like, you son of a bitch! To Grayson Waller, and then basically Sheamus beats him up for a little while, grabs a couple of Irish Coast backbreakers, puts on the Irish Cloverleaf. There he has to get to the ropes really quickly. Right in front of Grayson Waller, who's not very interested. And then they go back and forth. Theory gets the advantage, but Sheamus came back, gets caught with a blockbuster for a near fall. They go up top, and Sheamus hits super white noise, followed by the 10 bells of the doldrum, or whatever it's called, the 10 clubbing blows. Blah. You know, the 10 blows. Blah. And then he backs up, and he's about to go for the brogue. So he hits the brogue kick right in Theory's face. And he goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3 in under 10 minutes. Sheamus gets his first win in many months. He cut his hair a little bit shinier, a little bit redder. But it's good. So Sheamus is back. And, man, this long as, I don't know, it's been like a year now that this whole Grayson Waller Theory thing, like, oh, we're friends, and then they're like, you think they're gonna break up finally, and they're like, no, we're not gonna break up yet, we're just gonna keep this going for another 5 months, Hunter. This is getting pathetic. Break them up already! Alright, we get that. Alright, Pentagon gets an Intercontinental title shot against Dom Dom at Backlash. I already mentioned that before. Alright, then we go to the back. JD McDumpfuck's not happy with his loss to Pentagon. So, and Dom's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hit it, Esse. And then, we see Raquel Rodriguez, one half of the women's tag team champions, because Liv Morgan's still in Japan. Fiend Balor is there. Carlito is there, too. And then, as they're arguing, we get the phenomenal AJ's got great hair styles. He comes in and says, hey, Prince. Prince? No, he means Prince Devitt. As we all know, it's Finn Balor. So he comes in. Say, hey, this place wasn't hard to find. And then he says, whoever wins between Dom Dom and Pentagon, I got next. Okay. So AJ leaves, and then Dom Dom talks about everyone coming for my belt. He's like, what's up with that? And he's like, hey Finn, you're friends with AJ. Why don't you go after him? And then Bal's like, oh, I gotta do everything for you, Dom? Sure, I'll do it. So a little like, yeah, fuck you, Dom. Oh, no, I'll do it. I'm just kidding. So next week this Monday on the program, we got Finn Balor and AJ Styles. Feels like a New Japan match. I'd love to see. Battle of the two former leaders of Bullet Club. Too sweet. That's pretty much it. That should be a banger. We move on. Alright, 2.5 out of 5 stars for that. And that's done. Alright. Then we stay in the back. We have the new Raw Tag Team Champions. We got the New Day of Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston! Alright, so they come up to Chad Gable and suggest a mutually beneficial agreement about dealing with War Machine. And then while they're talking, the man! Becky Lynch comes up, and New Day doesn't like what happened to her last week. So I don't know what that was about, but we get that. Alright, 2.5 out of 5 stars for that. Speaking of Becky, she goes to the ring, and doesn't like being told she sucks, because she should be, she's like, you should be thanking me for taking out the garbage, meaning Bayley. And she says, she took out the recycling, which is what Lyra Valkyria is. I wonder what compost is. But I digress. Lyra is slightly better than garbage, but still worthless. And the reality is that Lyra owes everything to her. So Lyra comes out, and they went off on each other. It was great. Lyra says Becky is the queen of recycling, as she has done the same thing over and over and over and over again. And the reality is that that Becky went on holidays and everyone else got better, including including Lyra, who is now a champion. So, you know, you went off and had a kid. What did you? What did I? You know what I did? I won this. And then Lyra's like, I've had more title defenses than you showing up to work this year. Well, you gotta remember, Becky, not Becky. So, Lyra, you gotta remember that, that Becky has a book out, so she's been, like, going around, you know, and she was kind of, like, you know, taking some time off. So, you gotta remember, you know, what the book tour and, you know. Alright, so that kind of got a ooh from the crowd. Then Becky goes on a humongous rant about being the best ever, even citing Sports Illustrated. So then Lyra's like, ooh, Sports Illustrated, woo! And then she lists off Becky's accomplishments, but it doesn't include being the first women's Intercontinental champ. And as long as I'm here, Becky, you will always be second place, so learn to love it. And then they brawl. Security can't even break it up. These five people from frickin' Walgreens. Becky gets away and then starts ranting about disrespecting her authority. Then gets caught in Nightwing to leave her laying, and that's it. So this match I'm actually getting very interested in. I want to see what happens tonight. I hope Becky wins, but I mean, we'll see. Alright, so the segment, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Let me move on. Alright, more ladies action as we go to a non-title affair between Roxanne Perez, or Roxy, taking on my third amazingly hot Asian wife. It was her birthday a few days ago. She's 35, and her name is Io Sky. And she got a nice little gift from me, if you know what I mean. And then they took her to the sushi house. Well, Io got some Italian, I got some sushi, if you know what I mean. It was a good time. Anyway, this match was pretty good. 10-minute match, back and forth they went. Roxy works on the leg of Io. You know, Io's a little bit of trouble with that, but she's fine enough to hit a quick double stomp for a near fall. Goes for her over the moonsault, but missed. And then the leg is worked on again. And we get a face plant into a cartwheel knee to the neck. Ow. Gives Roxy a near fall. Then they go into a really fast pinfall reverse sequence. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then Io wins that exchange with a fruit roll-up. 1, 2, 3. She gets the win in a pretty good match. 3.25 out of 5 stars. And then after the match, what we thought was going to be a code of honor, as Roxy and Io pretty much shake hands. But it was a ploy, you know, it was a ploy because Julia comes in, jumps Io, and we get a 2-on-1 beatdown, and nobody comes save her, not even Mommy Rhea Ripley, who is in Australia to promote Crown Jewel. So, but this Monday night, Mommy Rhea Ripley will be back to team with Io against Roxy and Julia. So, how that's gonna go, I don't know. We'll see. But I really think, you know, Io is mad. That fucking bitch! I had to calm her down, you know. I'm like, Io, calm down. And then she tried to give me show tape. I'm like, whoa, easy, woman. Calm down. Alright, so we got that. But anyway, Io gets the win. That's all that matters. Moving on. Alright, then we go to Otis, who comes out with Akira Tozawa and Maxime Dupree. He takes on Rusev smash not a pussy. Yeah. In his return to the ring in a few years. back and forth match they went. Big, beefy men slapping meat match, basically. Rusev drops him again with a super kick. Then locks in the Accolade, fucks him in the ass and makes him humble. And Otis basically tapped out. Match wasn't great. 2.5 out of 5 stars. 2.5 out of 5 stars. And then afterwards, Akira Tozawa tries to go after Rusev to stop him from hurting Otis even more. But then Tozawa and Otis get another beatdown. Tozawa gets powerbombed. And then Otis gets locked in the Accolade again. And then eventually Adam Pearce and company have to get Rusev off. And they try to take Otis out. And Otis is like dead weight. I'm like, ugh, he's like falling over himself. I felt bad for Maxime Dupree. But it is what it is. But Rusev is back, breaking backs, and we'll see what happens with that. Moving on. Alright, so Adam Pearce stays at ringside, and he brings in Pat McAfee to address the whole situation with Walter. And on cue, Walter comes out as well, wearing street clothes, because Pat McAfee isn't that important to him. So, Walter promises to keep things professional, unlike Michael Cole. I don't know what that meant, but okay. But he doesn't appreciate the "you tapped out" chant, because Jey Uso made him tap to win the belt at Mania. So Pat puts over Michael Cole as a legend, and since Walter had to attack the 60-year-old man, he'll give Walter his opinion about him. But before he does that, he gets the hometown pop, the cheap pop from Omaha. And then he talks about how the two of them grew up watching all the wrestling they could. Pat grew up as a huge wrestling fan, dreaming that he could one day get in the ring. And for Walter, it's become a job after 20 years. But for Pat, it's still the biggest thrill. And on Saturday, Pat is going to prove that this version of Walter is soft. He even said, "You're Waltering around." Nice little pun there. Okay, we'll go with that. Alright, so they stare each other down, and then Walters asks Pat if he enjoyed his daughter's birthday last week, saying it must have been a special day, and now Backlash is going to be a special day for me. It's my first match since losing the belt at Mania, and I'm going to be more focused than ever before, and Walter promises to destroy Pat once and for all, but he's going to leave him safe for now. So no big bombs thrown or anything like that. So it's going to be a fight tonight with Pat and Walter. Walter's going to annihilate Pat, and then Michael Cole's going to be crying on commentary. I mean, there is a rumor that Goldberg will show up, and then Goldberg's gonna be the final. Walter's gonna be Goldberg's final opponent. That match is gonna happen at SummerSlam, probably on night 2. I mean, I don't give 2 fucks about it. I hope Walter beats his ass, because Goldberg's just washed up garbage right now. And so we see what happens with that. But I think we're gonna see a murder tonight, and I think we're not gonna see Pat McAfee for a while. Because you gotta remember, coming up in a couple of months is college football, so he's gonna be off commentary for a little bit. So we'll see what happens with that as we move on with that. Alright, so I give that segment 3 out of 5 stars, and that's it. Alright, then we go to your main event of Raw for the Raw World title. Seth freaking Rollins with the Wise Man, Paul Heyman, and Braun Breaker at ringside. He takes on Jey Uso. Alright, so we got the big match intros. Match was great. Fans chant, "This is awesome," because they're chanting for Mike. What? Oh, they're chanting for you, Mike. I know. Why? Because you're awesome, like the match was? I put on good matches, too. Yeah, I know you do. Yeah, but they don't have to chant my name and, during my match. Well, didn't they chant that in the ECW when you were kicking ass? Not so much. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Not so good, Al. No. So anyway, Mike, I gotta finish up, so I'll talk to you later. Is it okay? Yeah, okay, I'll be at the bar. You know I am. Hanging out with Jerome. Yeah, just be careful with Jerome, okay? That guy's creepy. Yeah, don't worry. If he gets out of line, I'll kick his ass. But anyway, oh yeah. Bye! Bye, fans! Bye! You foreign bastard, Nick! Bye! Anyway, moving on. Alright, so, got the chance of This Is Awesome. Let me get that. So Rollins counters the spear into a pedigree like he did to Roman at Mania. Gets in there for all of that. Goes for a stomp and missed. And Jay grabs a 1925 sleeper hold, which is how he won the belt at Mania. That gets broken up easily. Jay comes back with a spear for a near fall. Goes up top for the Superfly splash, but gets distracted by Braun Breaker. No, I think he got distracted by the Wise Man, and then Braun stops him, and he gets crotched on the top rope. Then Seth hits the Cataclysm, the Superplex, into the Falcon Arrow for a near fall, because, that never gets a win for Seth Rollins. So, he hits that, Seth's like, what? And then Sami Zayn's back. After getting annihilated the week before by Braun Breaker, Sami comes out, his ribs all taped up, goes right after Braun Breaker, allowing Jay to hit a spear into the Superfly splash and gets a very near fall. And then Braun spears Sami right near the ring. Jay goes over to check on him, and then Braun hits a spear on him too. And then Seth's all he's all smiling. He's about to win the belt. Then he hits the stomp. And then so he hits the stomp. He could have won the match, but he was too lazy to go for the cover. And as he was about to go for the cover, CM Puke! Punky Brewster comes out, goes right after Braun with a chair. Then he takes the chair, goes in the ring, and wallops Seth freaking Rollins down, calls it disqualification. I thought the match was thrown out, but still the same thing. So he wallops Seth, match is over in 19 and a half minutes exactly. It was a pretty damn good match. 3.25 out of 5 stars for that. And then after the match, Punk continues to beat down Seth, and then Seth, Paul, and Braun Breaker backpedal up the ramp. So it's which leaves Jay, Sami, and Punk in the ring, and I'm like, wait a minute, there might be a third man. Who? Maybe it's Jeff Cobb. I wonder. So we'll see what happens with that. But all in all, Raw wasn't that bad. So I'm going to give Raw a solid 7 out of 10 stars. And that's that. Alright, let's quickly get to Smackdown. If we can. I gotta take a nap, but I'm dead fucking tired. It's been a long day. Been a pretty long day. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, don't forget. So enjoy that. We got Mets baseball coming up at in an hour from now on Fox. The game 2 of the 4-game series against them Cubbies. Mets won last night 7-2. Juan Soto is heating up. You gotta love it. Hit a home run last night. Jeff McSquirrel, McNuggets hits a home run. The yearly Jeff McNeil sighting. Frankie Lindor hit one. I think, and then Brett Bonds Beatty hit a home run. So Mets did some good shit. Clay Holmes with a beautiful performance last night. Mets win. Duh! Mets win. 7-2. They got Tyler McGill on the mound tonight. It should be a good matchup. And then an early game tomorrow at 12:30. That's your Mother's Day game, but it's not going to be on TV. It's going to be on Roku. And then we got that. And then the Pirates come into town for a 3-game series. And then, ladies and gentlemen, buckle down next weekend in that construction site in the Bronx. Mets, Yankees, Subway Series, Part 1 in the Bronx. Soto's kind of homecoming. So we'll see how it goes. I hope the Mets sweep, but we'll see. We shall see. I can tell you one thing, Devin Williams is scared as fuck if he comes into a game and Pete Alonso's up. Because remember who gave up that game-winning home run in Game 3 of the Wild Card Series? Devin Williams to Pete Alonso, and the Mets went on to win the Wild Card and went on to the NLDS to beat the Filthies in 5 games, and then went on to the NLCS to sadly lose to the eventual champion Dodgers, who beat the Skankies. So we got that. But Mets had 25 wins already. They're on pace to 100. That's nice. If they can keep it up without any major injuries. They already lost A.J. Minter for the year, which sucks. So the 8th inning guy, the setup guy to Mr. Diaz, he's gone for the year. But we're going to be getting, but the Mets are getting the so-called Tribal Chief Sean Manaea back soon. Same thing for Frankie Montez somewhere next month. So we'll see what happens with that. But Mets are getting some reinforcements in pretty soon. And Senga leads the league in ERA, which is amazing. How? I don't know, but amazing. Like the Mets, amazing. Alright, now let's get to Smackdown. Really quickly, we heard from John Cena at the end of the show, with a little bit of chicanery, but we'll talk about that later. Alright, so Smackdown, if I can get my notes in order. Smackdown emanated from Dayton, Ohio. Give me 1 second. Sorry guys. Alright, so Smackdown emanated from the Nut Her Center. I love that arena. The Nut Her Center. Yeah, I like the nut in her. Your mama and your girlfriend. I love to do that at the same time. But I digress. In Dayton, Joe Tessitore and Bad News Wade Bennett. And I'm afraid, Joe, I got some bad news for you. Alright, so this is SmackDown's official go-home show. So, it was a pretty decent show. Nothing great, as always. Alright, so we see Randy coming into the arena. I mean, we'll see what happens with that and a whole bunch of other shit. I mean, it's not Randy, sorry. Cena coming into the building. We're going to hear from him later. But, it was a pretty good show. We had the return of Miss Bliss. Alexa Bliss, as she teamed up with Zelina Vega, the Women's United States Champion, as they took on Chelsea Green and the Secretary of her Fence, that's Piper Niven, with the Sergeant at Arms, Miss Abba Fire at ringside. We'll get to that hopefully in a little bit. Alright, here we go. Alright, so we start the show off with Poppy Priest, going towards the ring. Byron Saxton, you idiot, interrupts him. And, talks about the United States title match at Backlash, but he's got a tag team match. Teaming up with Eli Drake to take on Solo Mibuki and Jacob Fatu, the United States champ. So Poppy's all ready to get his U.S. title back, but Eli Drake comes in and says, I want my title back too. And, and Poppy's like, well, if you got my back, I got your back. And then they're like willing to coexist and work together. Well, how long will that last? Let's see. Alright, so we get to the match. Match lasted about 10 freaking minutes. And there was a little bit of, they looked like they couldn't coexist at times, but because they kept arguing over the tags and over the pins and stuff. But we get into the end. Eli comes in, cleans house, hits that spinning elbow on Jacob. Eli loads up the top rope elbow, but then Poppy tags himself in. Eli's like, the fuck, man? And then Poppy hits South to Heaven. And then Eli tagged back in. And then Solo hits him, and he tries for the Samoan Spike. And Eli ducked it. Then hits the BFT on Solo. 1, 2, 3 in just over 10 minutes to get the win. And that's it. And then after the match, the match I gave 3 out of 5 stars. Afterwards, Jacob takes out Poppy and Eli on the outside. And then he comes back in and does his little, his little emote thing. And then Drew McIntyre comes in, lays him out with the Claymore, and then he holds up the belt. Then, after the break, he talks to Byron in the back, and he's kind of mad that Poppy somehow works his way into the match, doesn't really care too much about Eli, and then basically tells Jacob, I'm going to win the belt and become a Grand Slam champ. I thought you already were a Grand Slam champ, but okay, we'll go with that. We move on with that. We move on with that. And that's that. Alright, so we'll see if Drew can become a Grand Slam champ tonight. I don't think he will, but we'll see. Alright, then we see R-Truth in the back, even though it's like around the parking lot area. And he has a pro John Cena sign. And he's like, let's go Cena, we can see you. And then Jimmy Uso comes in and says, what the fuck are you doing? And then Truth says, Truth's like, he doesn't understand that Cena has turned to the dark side. And Truth's like, I don't care if I don't care. He's still the last real champ. He'll never lie to me. This and that. And Jimmy's still confused. So I don't know what that's gonna lead to, and I really don't care. All right, so we get that. All right, then we get a recap of Chelsea Green's recent issues as of late with Zelina Vega. We get that. All right, so we see Zelina Vega, and we see Chelsea and her secret Hervis. They're holding a funeral for her United States title reign, and then Nick Aldis and Zelina Vega come in, and basically Chelsea and her friends imply that Zelina has no friends, so Aldis like, hey, I'll do a Teddy Long special. Let's have a tag team match, player. Chelsea, you and Piper can fight Zelina and whoever she finds. So Zelina's like, works for me. Okay. So we get that. Alright, then we get a video on Aleister Black. He cuts a little promo. Basically says, I came back to right the wrongs and shit like that. I'm like, okay, Tommy. We move on. Alright, so then we go to Chelsea and Piper with Alba Fire at ringside, taking on Zelina Vega, the Women's United States Champion, and her partner. Well, she's from Ohio. There was rumors that this woman from Ohio was backstage, and yes, it is Miss Bliss, the returning Alexa Bliss. She comes back. She leaves Lily behind. I don't know about that. Anyway, have a little 8-minute match. Nothing great. But Alexa gets the hot tag, catches Chelsea in the tree of whoa for a running drop kick. Then she hits Twisted Bliss. Goes for the cover. Piper makes the save, and then Lexi hits a super kick on Piper, which sends Piper into a code red by Zelina Vega. Piper rolls out to the floor, and then Zelina takes out Piper on the floor with a big flippy dippity doo, and then that leaves Chelsea in the ring. She tries to unpretty her on Lexi, but Lexi turns that into the Sister Abigail DDT. 1, 2, 3. Lexi and Zelina get the win. So Lexi's first win since coming back at the Rumble. And then we pretty much haven't seen her after that. And then that's it. She's back. She's on the road for how long? Don't know. We'll see. But glad to see her back. And we move on. Alright, then we go to the back. We have Rey Fenix and Emo. He's in the back. And he's talking to Santos. He cuts him off because Santos is still trying to recruit him for Legado. But Phoenix cuts him off because he already beat Santos last week. And then Los Lobos come in, Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza come in. They jump Rey Fenix, beat his ass. And so Petey Williams and, Andrade have to come in and clear everything out. And then later, Andrade and Rey Fenix take on Los Lobos in a tag team match. We'll get to that in a little bit. Alright, then we get a video showcasing John Cena versus Randy Orton. Number 1 contenders match for I forgot what pay-per-view was at, but it was in Hell in a Cell in 2014, which John Cena won with the Super AA through the table. So we got that. Alright, then we see a nice black car coming into the parking lot. And who should come out? Well, it's not the Tribal Chief, but it's Horseface Charlotte Flair. Alright, so she goes to the ring, and she's fresh off the greatest women's match in WrestleMania history. She took Tiffy Tiff to the limit, but lost. Now she's here to announce her path back to the SmackDown Women's title. Fans are booing her, as they should, and she wants to know why they are so disrespectful to her. Well, pretty much you suck. And then Shaw's like, if you guys don't lighten up, I'm leaving. Yay, leave, go! And never coming back to this town. Well, who cares about that? Alright, so Charlotte goes to leave, and then Jade Cargill, she comes out, and they have a big old stare down. And Jade's got a number 1 contenders match for Tiffy's title against Nia Jax coming up. So they they have a stare down. Jade gets to the ring, gets the mic, and says, hey, Charlotte, go, nice of you to be here, but you can, you lost to Tiffy Tiff, go back on the line. So I'm thinking that Charlotte was going to do something, go to the back and then come back out later to kind of screw Jade. So we get that. So anyway, we go to break, we come back, Charlotte goes to leave, get in her car, but then Miss Bliss, Alexa Bliss, is there, slams the door, and says, hey Charlotte, we gotta talk. I wonder about what. I'm interested, but we'll see. Alright, so we get that. Alright, then we got Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax for a shot at Tiffy Tiff and her SmackDown Women's title. Speaking of Tiffy Tiff, it's Tiffy time! Daddy! Yes, Sunshine, what is up? I just want you to know I was on commentary. Did you see me? Yes, you look very beautiful, my girl. Very beautiful. Marcel approves. Oh, he approved, all right. Oh, I didn't need to know that, Sunshine. But I hope he was wearing a rubber. No comment. Anyway, moving on. Alright, so Tiffy Tiff was pretty much, cheering on Jade. She's like, oh, that's great! And, Jax goes up, Nia goes up top, gets slammed down by the bigger, stronger Jade Cargill, which sets up Jade's frog splash, not like Eddie Guerrero, let's say, but, it's like tadpole splash for a near fall. Then the pump kick right to Nia's face, gets another near fall, and then Tiffy's like, cheering Jade on, and then out of nowhere, Naomi comes out, jumps Tiffy at ringside, and then she kind of distracts Jade. It's like, oh, come on, let's go. And Jade's like, what are you doing here? Get out of here. And that distraction lets Nia run over Jade in the corner. Then she goes up top, hits the Annihilator. 1, 2, 3. Shockingly, Nia Jax pins Jade Cargill. So Jade's lost 2 matches on in WWE so far. And so Nia gets the win, becomes the new number 1 contender. So we're going to run this back again. Tiffy Tip versus Nia for the SmackDown Women's title. So Nia wins in 10 minutes. And that's pretty much it. And then later, Tiffy's in the back, like, looking for somebody. And then she comes up to Nia, and then basically tells Nia, like, well, I beat you before, I'll beat you again. So I'm like, oh, please do. And we got that. Alright, then we see the Street Profits, the Dark Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, still reeling and hurting from their epic TLC match. Montez has his ribs taped up, and Angelo Dawkins has his knee and elbow all taped up. They're all both fucked up. They run into Mia Yim and B-Fab, who praise them, and then they pretty much like, oh, fuck you guys. Okay, we got that. So speaking of the Street Profits, they come out for a little chitty chat, and saying we've been talking to town the last few weeks. We just had the greatest TLC match of all time. I mean, it was great, but not that great. But anyway, even involved a prosthetic leg. And it's like, oh, we're the greatest tag team of all time. This and that, blah blah blah. And then Fraxium come out, A-Kid and Ben Frazier, and I'm saying, oh, we're all happy to be here in Ohio. And they want a title shot, but the Prof's like, well, we're not really ready to fight you guys. They're kind of shocked. You've only been around for how long? You've been here for 2 weeks, and you only won, 2 matches, and you deserve a title shot? Well, that's Tony Khan booking. So anyway, Nick Aldis comes out and says, hey, you want a match so bad? We're going to have a non-title match right now. And Montez was like, oh, I'm hurt here. So anyway, we get to the match, which wasn't bad. Back and forth they went. Lots of flippy-dippity-doos by Fraxium. Montez, even with his ribs all fucked up, still does some flippy-dippity-doos. Angelo Dawkins with his power, his leg and his elbow all fucked up. They go back and forth, but we're getting to the end. And Frazier fights back, gets caught in the Doomsday Blockbuster for a near fall. As A-Kid's barely made the save. And then he super kicks a diving Montez Ford in the ribs, in his injured ribs. And then we get a super Spanish fly on Dawkins, takes Dawkins down. And then Ben Frazier adds a Phoenix Splash, goes for the cover. Montez Ford dives in for the save, takes out A-Kid as well. And then Montez kicks Ben Frazier down, only to go up top for the frog splash from the heavens, and he missed and messed up his really banged up ribs once again. And then we get a missile dropkick leg sweep combo, interesting, for the win. So Fraxium gets the win, so you know what that means, they get a title shot. When? Don't know. So 13 and a half minutes, match was great, 3.25 out of 5 stars for that. And we move on. Alright, then afterwards, we have the Code of Honor. You'll love to see it. That's that. Alright, so I mentioned Tiffy Tiff looking for Naomi, but finds Nia Jax. Nia's all ready to win the belt back. Tiffy's like, well, I'm just going to send you to the loser's table where Charlotte is. Okay, let's see what happens with that. Alright, then we get a video for Walter and Pat McAfee, including a long recap of how they got the backlash. Not that we need to see that, but okay, we got there. Alright, then we have The Miz gives Carmelo Hayes, him, a pep talk before he faces Aleister Black. You know, we'll see what happens with that. It should be a good match. So they do the he's awesome. He's not awesome. I'm awesome. I know, Mike. Calm down. I'll talk. I'll talk to Mr. Mizanin about how awesome he is. He's not that awesome like you. When he gets in the Hall of Fame, we're gonna kick his ass. Okay, we know. All right. So then we get to Carmelo Hayes and Aleister Black with The Miz at ringside. Not a bad match. Miz tries to get involved, and he gets Aleister Black sends Melo into Miz. Oops, knocks him off the apron, and then he rolls up Carmelo 1, 2, 3 in an ever so popular 9/11. So Aleister Black gets the win, and then proceeds to hit Black Mass as Miz comes right back into the ring. Bing, bang, boom, good night. So, match is alright, 2.5 out of 5 stars, and that's that. Alright, then we go to the back, we have Solo Mibuki talking to Jacob, and says that me and you need to form a game plan with this Fatal 4-Way match coming up for the United States title. And then Jacob's like, I don't need a plan, I'm just gonna wreck people. Ya mean? And then he leaves, and Solo's like, okay. And I'm like, wait a minute, is Solo plotting something? There was talk of Solo and Jacob maybe fighting either at Money in the Bank or going into maybe Crown Jewel or by SummerSlam. So we'll see what happens with that situation. We move on. All right, we go to the back. We have the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. They're proud of Fraxium for beating the Profits in a non-title match. And says, hey, if you guys win the belt, we're going to have to somehow, down the line, face each other. So they're all cool with that. And then DIY, Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano, and the Psycho Killer, Mr. Kefkasey, Tommaso Ciampa, they come in and beat the fuck out of both teams. Damn. And that's all I gotta say about that. We move on. Alright, then we got Los Lobos, Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza taking on Rey Fenix and Andrade, teaming up for, the first time. Well, WWE for the first time. I don't know about AAA if they ever teamed up there. It was a pretty decent match. Santos Escobar at ringside. Match lasted under 10.5 minutes. Rey Fenix gets the hot tag to Andrade. And they fight it out a little bit. Rey Fenix comes back, grabs a Hurricane Rana, gets reversed into a sunset flip, and then Santos distracts the referee from a possible pinfall, and then Rey Fenix does his top rope walk, takes out Angel Garza, and then Andrade hits the message on Humberto Carrillo to get the win. So your winners are Rey Fenix and Andrade, which did not sit well with Santos. He starts yelling at Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza, and then goes right up to Humberto Carrillo, saying, what was that? What the was that? And he kind of pushes Humberto, and Humberto kind of pushes back, and then he freaking leaves, and goes like, I don't know, the bell rang, So like, I don't know with my brother, man, I don't know what I say, So, I think the eventual breakup of Legado is going to happen, I think Andrade is going to reform Legado in his image, but Santos is probably going to go on his own, or who knows. And that's that. Alright, then we get a big old Backlash rundown before we get to our final segment of the evening for SmackDown. John Cena, the Undisputed Champ, he comes out. He has Mark Nash once again for like the 4th week in a row give him his proper introduction, even though some idiot fan threw a bottle at Cena, so he had to stop the custom introduction, and he picks up the Michelob Dark or whatever it was, maybe it was Budweiser, I don't know. He's like, and then throws it out the ring. That guy got thrown out. This ain't the NWO days, dude. You're throwing bottles, nobody cares. But in any case, Alright, so Cena says Randy's not in the building. That's because, he took my advice from last week. Says that Saturday is going to be the end of Orton's legacy. And everybody else is going to be, all their childhood is going to be dead. Blah, blah, blah. So Cena goes over his history with Orton, how much success they've had. He's like, if you're part of this generation, you have picked one of us over the other. But tomorrow, everything ends. He brings up Randy's 2006 drug test. Says Orton is a lazy boy because he was talking about furniture and coats and shit like that, which is what he describes as loyalty. He's seen as the greatest of all time about being loyal. He is respect. He says Randy's gonna be like his 2006 drug test, a failure. He says, I am the greatest of all time. I am respect. Blah, blah, blah. Talk about hustle, loyalty, respect, shit like that. And then somebody comes in wearing like a Randy Orton hoodie. I'm like, wait a minute. Who is that? Is that Miles Bourne? It looked like him, but it was not him. It was Sean Spears under the mask, by the way. They actually talked about it on Ringside News today. So, Sean Spears, under a mask, comes in, tries to RKO Cena, but Cena ducked it, hits Sean Spears, or this fake Orton, with an AA, grabs his belt, holds it up, and then the real Randy Orton comes in, Gilmore Cutter! Bang! Leaves Cena laying for the 4th week in a row. Seems like after Cena won the belt, even before he won the belt, he got laid out 3 times by Cody, and now he's been laid out, 3 or 4 times in the span of 3-4 weeks by Orton. That's crazy. That's your world champ, and he's getting laid out every fucking week, almost? Dude. Alright, so we'll see what happens with that. I still think Cena's winning, of course. But, it's probably going to be some, screw job ending because it's in Randy's hometown. So I think Cena's going to win by some type of chicanery. I don't think Travis Scott's going to be there. I'd be surprised if he is there. People think Jeff Cobb might show up and, maybe help Cena out. I don't know, maybe. It could be anybody, Maybe Daniel Cueto comes out with Matanza, you know what I mean? With Jeff Cobb, I should say, but you know what I mean. But we got that. But we'll see what happens tonight at Backlash. Before SmackDown goes, I thought it was okay. So I also gave it 7 out of 10 stars. But let me know what you guys think of the show, of both shows, down below in the comments section. And that's pretty much it. Alright, I'm going to get to my predictions in just a little bit. And then we're going to go right into Backlash. Should be a great pay-per-view. Enjoy it, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back later, right after Backlash, after I have my sensible dinner. Of course, we're gonna have fun, watch the pay-per-view, maybe have a sensible dinner, and then go on to whatever we're doing Saturday night. It's time to fight and have a good night. So that's that. Alright, thanks for watching. Check out episode number 69 of the Shadow's Lair coming up in just a little bit over on the Shadow's Lair channel. So stay tuned for that. So we got 3 videos on your Triple Threat Saturday. It's going to be fun, so check it out. Thanks for watching, everybody, and until next time, if you're not down with that, I got 3 words for you. Fuck you, man. And that's it. That's it. Enjoy your Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, and until next time, peace.